Hey everybody, welcome to an episode of Leland, Ley Lines Live with Leland. Can't even say my own name. Good way to start the show. No, thanks for watching everyone. I figured I'd take a break from doing the regular clone evolution videos non-stop because it is getting a little repetitive. So I'll mix it up with some of the news that we've had recently about the ley lines and about, gravity wells, earthquakes, and different weather events and how they connect. So yeah, I figure I'll cover some more of that this morning, see if we get any viewers in the live chat. Oh hey, we got someone from Clone Evolution. Hey man, how's it going? Just doing a video covering some weather topics today in news, but I'll be doing a Clone Evolution video later today too. You're more than welcome to stay if you want. It's a little bit different than my regular Clone Evolution stuff. So anyways, here's what my map looks like. Actually, I'll put up a different version of it. This one's a little bit cleaner. Yeah, so what I like to do is track what the weather looks like on ancient map styles, and I figured I'd do it every morning myself, so I'd start sharing it with other people too, so you can get an idea of some of the stuff that I'm into. It's not just Clone Evolution that I like to play. Alright, so what I can do is I can turn on weather, and this is weather, like live forecast images onto Google Earth. So there's a bunch of different weather events going on. CNN was reporting today that they expect a hurricane to be forming in the Gulf. I was just looking at maybe the reasons for that. Now you can see a lot of the cloud formations usually follow the ancient map styles. If anyone hasn't heard of Great Circle Maps before, that's similar to the ones Perry Reese uses, or used to use, like 1,000 years or whatever ago. Maybe 500, I don't know. I always get years mixed up. Yeah, if you have any places you want to see weather patterns where you live, just let me know. I can bring it up on the map. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I wanted to cover for the weather. There were some really good storm patterns that were showing it right on the line last night, but I didn't do any of the streams last night. Well, I did one for Clone Evolution. Yeah, it looks like India or Southeast Asia got some activity going. Oh, what is this game? The game that this is actually kind of like a game that I made myself that uses Google Earth. And I just took ancient maps and plotted them onto Google Earth, and then I like to track what it looks like. You can see a lot of these lines will map up on ancient cities and stuff, and or not ancient cities, capitals. I guess they're modern capitals. It almost does remind me of playing a video game though, right? Like, I don't know, I wish video games had more stuff about Earth. Like always we deal with fake planets and stuff, but the Earth itself is such a cool planet. I don't know why we don't make more stuff about it. Like, I had no idea that the North Pole doesn't even have land, eh? I always thought that it was land. I never realized that it was just water. Or I guess ice and water. Now I've got a little bit of a theory about how I think the North Pole used to look like. I think the land used to look more like that, so it lined up with the triangles. You can see today only the right side is still there. This side got all smashed. Yeah, the weather patterns are all in real time. Oh, and the earthquakes too. I'll show you those. They line up pretty neat. Now what I do is I like to get the files from different government websites, and they'll put them on. They're called KMZ files or something. And then you can load it into the game, sort of like extra levels. So I can turn on ones for gravity anomalies. I can put on the plate boundaries of the Earth. Plate boundaries is kind of sick. You can see where it connects a lot with the line map. My line map also has lots of different layers. Yeah, if you turn on all the layers, it looks pretty fucking trippy. It's like, looks like something out of like the Matrix or something. But I usually turn all the other layers off because it's way too confusing with that many layers. It just looks cluttered. But the ancient maps, they used to do, 33 layers per orb, or per circle point. But nah, that's too many. Yellow and blue is pretty cool. Yellow and blue, you can really see South America with the blue lines, right? Without the blue lines turned on, I think South America doesn't look quite as good on this map. Whereas if like you put like Australia and India and shit, it looks amazing with just the yellow, right? Turn off blue. It's like fucking Australia. That's the cool one. Yeah, even how it outlines Asia and shit. I'm surprised that it lines it that closely and scientists don't be like, hey, we should look at these maps a little bit more close, right? Like, they're obviously showing us something here that we don't see on regular maps. Well, yeah, that's what I was going to show you guys, the fucking earthquake data. Sorry, I get sidetracked sometimes. Pretty easily. Ah, there we go. Yeah, when you look at the earthquake data in this region, it's a little bit clustered because they have so many earthquakes. So you're not going to see too many like, ooh, this is an amazing pattern lining up or something. I guess in a lot of cases where the lines interact with each other, it seems like you get earthquakes. I was looking at, was it Europe recently? You can see some of its earthquake activity lines up pretty good. Well, what is it? North America is the real kicker on it. Now this region here, Dominican Republic, once you turn on all the line colors, you can see why it gets hammered so much. I don't know, it seems like a good concentration of lines in one region will mess it up pretty good. Oh yeah, here's the good one. Everyone was talking about the Utah quake recently. I was thinking this region of quakes is like centered. It's weird how a lot of times quakes will happen on the line, but this region is like all centered. I don't know what that means. Yeah, even the earthquakes are in real time. Oh hey, Baz. Yeah, I'm doing the Ley Line stuff again. I was doing some clone evolution for a little bit of a break because, I don't know, looking at these globe lines kind of gets to me after a while. If I look at them too long, it's like I don't want to see them again for like months. Now, I figured with the recent quakes in Utah and stuff, everyone's talking about those, so should probably take a look. I noticed when I had my old data files, like, what is it, the USGS or whatever, they had fucking a really good earthquake file that showed the entire history of all earthquakes. God, did it ever line up great with the map. I always assumed it would be there, so I never duplicated copies of it, and then fuck if they didn't take it away. So now we only have like partial records of the fucking earthquakes now. But there used to be an X point here that was just hammered with earthquakes, and another one here hammered with earthquakes. But recently, it's mainly just been the Oklahoma region that's been getting hammered. So I was thinking one day the New Madrid fault around this area is going to pick up and balance out with this one. Because that's how it did historically. So I don't know, if I was in this region here, I would probably be preparing for an earthquake. I guess Atlanta, Knoxville, Charlotte. Oh, someone wants to see Nepal? Alright. Pretty sure I know where that is, but I'll type it in here so I get there faster. And check out this graphic that it does too. When I type in a place, it just zooms right to it for me. Yeah, that's the... Yeah, the Himalayas, that's it. Yeah, so Nepal is on one of the yellow line spots. I figured it would be close to one of the line centers. It seems like a little bit down the line is where it's getting hammered right now. So the Hindu Kush mountain region. There's a lot of good weed from there, I think, too, isn't there? I think one of the Ontario government strains I ordered was the Hindu Kush. Yeah, look at where the blue and the yellow intersected there, eh? Now it's neat with this one if you put on just yellow. Where is it? Whoops, turned yellow off. Yellow is a good, like, X marks the spot of where the mountain pattern is, eh? I didn't even know that there was mountains that went through Nepal that way, and then there's mountains that go through China that way. So it is like a big X that it forms, eh? I think scientists before are trying to say that it was the plate shifting and stuff that created this pattern. Maybe. I don't know what it could be. Oh, that's where you're from. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I was wondering, because I had like no idea how to pronounce your name. Depriti? Poon? Yeah, sorry, I can't even pronounce my own name right, so I'm not going to get other people's often right. No, my name's a little bit confusing because everyone in my family says it differently since I was a kid, so it makes it confusing for me because I could just pick whatever one I like, I guess. Eight highest mountain lie in Nepal. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, my uncle, he does travel blogs and stuff, and I think he was going up, what is the big mountain, the real famous one, Himalayas. Yeah, anyways, he was going up the big mountain there, and he didn't make it all the way. I guess he brought his wife too, my aunt. And there was like the elevation sickness thing where most people don't make it even halfway. And I guess it's really dangerous too, eh? People die trying to climb those mountains. I've climbed holy mountains in northern Ontario that are like really small. Well, I guess big for Ontario, but tiny in comparison to yours. And it is a rush. Dangerous, but man, worth the view it seems. Especially at night when you're camping on a mountain and you see the Milky Way. That's fucking worth it. Ah, Mount Everest, yeah, that's the one. Ever since my concussion, it's like, I know I'm trying to think of something, but the fucking synapse patterns or whatever just don't connect. It's fucking irritating as hell. But it's getting less and less. I'm starting to get my memories back. It's just been like 2 years of fucking rehab. I should probably use the vaporizer less. I'm sure this isn't helping my recovery. Well, you do what you gotta do, man. Yeah, so I guess I could look at some other regions if someone wants to check it out. I think, what other layers do I have that might be of interest to Nepal? I've got the gravity anomaly, but I'm pretty sure that just shows North America. I'll check. Yeah, the gravity anomaly file doesn't seem to want to load today. Yeah, a few of the government files have been acting up lately. My magnetic field one is gone lately too. So I've lost the magnetic field. The fucking... At least the plates are still working. Yeah, the gravity anomaly did use up a lot of data when I ran it, so maybe it's better that I didn't. Sometimes what people like to see is the ancient sites. I can turn those on. That's kind of a neat file. The catch with the ancient site one, though, is I can't look at England in that area, because there's so many there that it just crashes. But I can look at America. And hopefully I don't forget while I'm looking at it and have it crash. Oh, there's the gravity anomaly. It started coming up too. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever seen the gravity anomaly before. It's pretty fucking trippy too. Now you can see that all ancient sites don't really line up with it perfectly, but a pretty good chunk do. Could it just be coincidence? Maybe. Now I'm kind of hoping one day I find a file that does the gravity anomaly for the whole planet. Alright, maybe what I'll do is turn off the ancient sites and focus on just the gravity for now. Now that I got gravity working. Yeah, so you can see the gravity anomaly is somewhat consistent with the field. Seems like there's a bit of a circle there. A big spiral around there. A general tracking direction to the northeast. Makes me wonder, because this is where the old North Pole used to be. So it is almost going in that direction. Is this ley line stuff public? Well, I'll show you. There's been a couple different maps that people made over the years, and people are starting to put them onto Google Earth. So mine's not the only one. I'll show you. This was the more popular one for a while. I'll put it on. I actually just got a copy of it yesterday. So I was like, hey, if it's neat to actually put on someone else's so I can compare it. Now this guy has the same thing where he has lots of different layers. So I'll turn his on just the basic layer, similar to my yellow layer. See, some researchers were going on this pattern before. I kind of like this pattern too. The only thing is when I picked my pattern, I really didn't make up, or I guess not make up, or just pick randomly any location. Like if you turn regular map lines on, here, I'll try to explain it. Basically what it is, view grid. This line map shares a bunch that are the same as the regular globe maps. Yeah, quite a few. But you can see like the center line is off. what do they call it, the prime meridian line. So when I was making my map, what I did is I just picked the points that are the actual points, like the Tropic of Capricorn line or Cancer. That's where I started the orb line. I didn't just put it off some random spot. And these tropic lines are calculated by like the special tools designed by Sir Isaac Newton. And they like measure the distance of the sun, sort of like the equinox shit and all that. So when he's picking these tropic lines, they're the identical spots for like dividing the planet. It's weird, yeah, if you were to make my line from scratch, all it is you take the globe and you divide it first in 4 with the equator and the prime meridian. And then you divide it in half again, and then a half again, and then half again. And then once you have all those half lines, that's how you get to mine. I think what these ancient, like original ley line researchers were doing was just going by the ancient sites. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll put theirs on and then put the ancient sites. I noticed too, when I first started making mine, I started doing it by ancient sites, because I didn't even know how regular maps worked. Alright, so let's put that on and then put the ancient sites. Guess I'll turn off gravity for now, it's pretty distracting. That's good news. Maybe that means it's just my computer acting up and I can get the magnetic field pattern to show too. Alright. Now this ley line pattern is supposed to connect, what is it, Egypt and a bunch of other places all in one line. Maybe it would have to be a line going through there. Yeah, so their line, like classic ley lines that have been going around for years, are kind of cool. I like the maps. But I think this style that I'm using is more common from like the ancient times. You know, I'll bring up some slides to explain it. Showing it on this is going to be too confusing. I can't even make sense of it myself, so I'm not going to be able to explain it that easy. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll bring back to my studio in 1 sec. I just got to get some slides here to show. The ancient style is pretty fucked. Now what I do is I got a file on my computer that I collect all the information on this. So if I open that one, I should be able to go through a couple slides that explain it a little better. The only thing is, I usually have so many files on my computer. I gotta organize better. Ah, here it is. Actually, fucking pretty wild shit. I had to go to the museum to find out a lot of this stuff. It was hard to look it up on the internet. Alright, so this is the tool that those ancient map makers were making, Sir Isaac Newton and shit. It's like, it reminds me of the Freemason tool a lot too. They have it in the museums in Toronto. They were showing that you could use, what is it, the sun or some shit like that to calculate it with mirrors. I'll fucking bring up the explanation, because... yeah, so that's what they are. Reflecting mirrors that allowed for alignments with the sun and the stars and the horizon, so they could calculate the exact points on the map. Then where does it say it was invented by someone? Yeah, Sir Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton, some people say, was like one of the most popular Freemasons. So I don't know, it's kind of fucked up coincidence that this tool looks just like the Freemason sign, is designed by a popular Freemason, but yet you rarely hear about it, right? Everyone's always talking about that compass or angle square or whatever. I don't think you can calculate the angles of the planet with a fucking square. Oh yeah, that's the Freemason symbol. So maybe that is what it is. But yeah, so how old and when have these maps first came about? This is one of the oldest ones, the Piri-Reis map. You can see it has a lot of similarities to mine. I tried the alternating color pattern to map his as close as I could. I think this is a 1500s map, and he collected it from a whole bunch of other source maps and tried to combine them into one. Can you imagine trying to do this without Google Earth? That must have been fucked, right? Like on a flat piece of paper with fucking compasses. Amazing detail for South America. I was surprised how many of the orb points matched my map. That's where I was starting to think that I was getting close to the ancient version. Like basically, here's the Straits of Gibraltar, and if you follow that line all the way down to South America, I've got that line. I guess I'll bring it up to show you. Let's see, here. Yeah, my neighbor's got some sort of construction project going, so if you hear fucking giant bangs. Yeah, they're building a deck. Started last year and still finishing it. Yeah, thank God. Almost forgot what I was doing. Alright, so... fuck the red one. You can tell I've got a lot of work to do on the red one. And I'll turn off the other fucking regular map. Too many lines. Holy shit. Alright, so you can see basically you got a line from the Strait of Gibraltar going to South America. Very similar. Let's try... Okay. Yeah, so I tried to get it identical to Piri-Reis's map, but man, it's gonna be near impossible. Just because Piri-Reis had a whole bunch of different ones he was going by. Here's a couple other ones. If you wanted to see what the Dead Sea Scroll looked like, or not Dead Sea Scroll, the Black Sea. Let's go. Yeah, there's even a version of Europe, too. I was surprised. So before traditional map makers were making, like, the regular maps we use on the globe, they used to use these orb-type maps. They called them Great Circle maps. There's a whole Wikipedia page. I think I linked it in one of my videos about this. I'll probably link it again. Alright, looks like we've got a couple more questions in the chat, so I'll get to that. Yeah, see where Europe? I got Europe very similar to what they had. I noticed it's funny, the map that I made in theirs has some of the same orb points, except I made this one the main focal point, where they made this one it. So I don't know why. I'll have to try to figure out why they put emphasis on the opposite ones. I guess this was the popular one, this wasn't. Alright, so sorry, I get distracted. I'll get back to the questions. Let's see. Do you have ley lines of earth plates on this map? Yeah, I'll put the plates for, let's see. Oh, that's the wrong plate file. Plate boundaries, here it is. Yep, so I can put the plate boundaries with this one. Yeah, there's a nice spot where it lined up good, huh? Oh yeah, I was going to show you too. Look how the plate boundaries divide when it hits the line at almost the same angles. It's kind of wild, especially when you turn the red ones on, eh? It's like I almost hit it right on. Just missed it by a fraction. Alright, and I guess I'll put on the other map so we can compare both to see which one lines up better with the plate boundaries. The reason I have this spot here outlined with yellow circles is because that's where I believe Atlantis was. Yeah, so his is very similar. Not off by much, right? That's what I was thinking, it's neat. So many people made ley line maps, but a lot of people came very close to everyone else's without even seeing each other's. I guess it's because we're dealing with the same globe and... Oh yeah, that's a pretty good one. You nailed that one nicely. I think we had that one in common. Here, I think I still have some of my lines on here. Yeah, I do. That's what it is. Yeah? See, he got that one really good. Maybe that is perfect for that spot. Yeah, that one lines up nice too. Yeah, I'll try to remember to link his work in the description. I just found out, I've been a member of his Facebook pages for a while, but I didn't know he had a Google Earth version. Like, looking on these on paper and then seeing it on Google Earth is a totally different thing. Huh? Ooh, he got that one really good. Now what I'd like to do is compare this one more to the Perry Reese. See who got his closer a match. Like, I know when I did mine to the Black Sea, I didn't have much luck. Well, I had similar luck to Perry Reese's map design, but I had to tweak it quite a bit to get it to fit. So let's compare that to the Black Sea. See which one got it closer. Bottom left. Come on. So there, looks like he got that one. Yeah, so I think this is a pretty neat hobby, making these line maps and seeing if you can plot them onto, like taking these ancient ones and plotting them onto Google Earth. So he has another one there. Let's try checking. Maybe that one. Yeah, so not bad at all. This one really doesn't seem to create that same X pattern though, huh? Here. Although it does line up with some of the ancient cities nice. Ooh, that one really landed on Nepal, huh? Let's turn mine on. Yeah, see if ours and almost connect at Nepal there. Yeah, basically anyone who has Google Earth can load these files up and run them. The way I have my computer open right now, you can see. You just have to go up here, click File, go to Open, and then when you open any of the files you've downloaded, you'll be able to load them in. The only limit is how good your computer is for loading the files. If they're really intense, like a lot of data, it could crash your computer. If you have a really good supercomputer, you might have no problems running it. Yeah, this is pretty sick now that I'm able to run more than one person's ley line map. I'm hoping to get a few more researchers. Maybe do like a special where everyone compares maps and see if we can pool all everyone's together and try to get a really kick-ass map going. Because I know I change mine all the time, so there's bound to be more mistakes. I guess one of the best secrets I got to try to make less mistakes was by turning on the regular map and using it for measuring. So that way when I looked at the North Pole and I wanted to calculate what was the halfway point between that line and that line, I could just use these to calculate it identically. Like right down to the last bit. And then once you get the measurement on this line, like East 45, you can go all the way down to the equator and look for that East 45 again. So if you put it on there, then you know that you got it exactly on. I think, what is it, once you go to a certain point on the equator though, it flips, so instead of being north it'll be east. Because before I used to always just try to guess where the center point was on the equator, and I'm like, why the hell am I guessing? I can just use the fucking map and divide it identically in half. So that's when my map started to look a little bit more clean and polished, when I started to actually divide it identically in half. I'm sure, like, people will say that the globe isn't a perfect circle, so I agree with that. I'm not sure how this works with regular maps. When they draw the equator line on there, are they doing it as for a perfect circle? Or for the Earth itself? It's a little bit confusing. I don't even know half the shit myself. I'm still just figuring it out as I go. I don't know, we'll see if there's any more big updates on the news with earthquakes and stuff. We've been so quiet with earthquakes since that last big one in Alaska. I don't know if you want to check out where that was. That was actually one of my most entertaining earthquakes to research, just for the magnitude. Haven't seen that big of one in a while. Yeah, I believe Anchorage is right about there. Ah, there it is. Now it's fucked up. This file from the official government site that shows all the earthquakes, when I loaded it on my computer and then compared it to the historical records like on Wikipedia, it's not a match. There's lots that aren't on here. So I don't understand why that is. Maybe they just didn't complete it and they're still updating it. Which doesn't make any sense, because the first one they had, it was complete right away. Why they took it away. Yeah, so isn't historical quakes pretty wild on this? There's the big one in Alaska. Well, that was in 1964, fucking 9.2. I wasn't around for that one. I wasn't born till the end of the 70s. don't know, I could have swore that one we had recently was around Anchorage. I was gonna guess about there. Well, at least it has some of them on here. Yeah, that Mount St. Helen quake has been on the news quite a bit. Yeah, if people are wondering why the quake patterns seem to go in circles around the center of these orb points, I got a little bit of information that explains that. Just if I can remember what file. Oh, here it is. That didn't take long. Now you can see just like how the hurricanes spin around it, it's like usually the patterns of energy get pulled around a gravity well, not actually in the center of it. You can see that's how our solar system works around the sun. The Milky Way, cyclones around Jupiter's poles do the same patterns. I think it's the gravity well pattern Einstein was trying to theorize for the longest time. Yeah, so you see the earthquakes, they do the same orbiting patterns around the gravity wells, not right in the center usually. Why that is, I guess, who knows. I'm just looking through my files. I used to be able to show the magnetic field pattern and where it was moving. Unfortunately, that's been removed. Hopefully I'll get that data back eventually. Maybe someone made a duplicate of it somehow. Yeah, so don't worry guys, I was thinking maybe I'm going to try doing these ley line map updates daily. Do a clone evolution video daily, ley lines daily. Trying to get my channel going to the point of 1,000 subscribers so that way I can get some super chat going. Man, the historical quakes of Asia are crazy, huh? Yeah, I guess if I wanted to live somewhere safe, then I would get a spot right in the center of one of these spots, huh? And you're pretty safe to know that you won't get hit, but everyone around you will. Ooh. Well, that's not too bad, 7.2. Oh, I know what I have on here. God, that extra grid is so annoying. It's like I can tell as soon as I have it on, I'm like, fuck, what's all this extra shit that I don't need? Yeah, I love watching the historical quake on this one. That's pretty sick. Surprised one hit so close to the center. I bet you if you took that same solar system pattern and laid it over this, you could start to develop where the earthquakes are going to happen. Some computer algorithm that can match it. Yeah, you ever noticed that this created the spiral pattern? I don't know if I have a file of it. No, not on this one. I think I've got 3 files now with all the folders with images. I'm gonna merge them into one. Yeah, that area there, you can sort of see why it gets hammered, huh? 2 main energy field lines are interacting right where they connect. Yeah, it looks like Romania is probably going to have another earthquake, huh? Right where that X seems to connect. See if I got any more questions in the chat. Sorry, I sort of get onto rants. Can you imagine we had a file that went back like 1,000 years showing all the earthquakes? I bet you we could crack this pattern pretty easily. Yeah, so like major X there, big earthquakes, major X, earthquakes. Man, that looks like a nice place to live. Oh, there's Dagestan, man. Yeah, I was hoping that Habib-Tony fight was going to happen, and then UFC fucked over all the fans by making him fight Justin when he had COVID. It's like, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. I don't know, people are going to say that Tony was fine. It's like, I don't know, man. I've seen Tony fight a lot of times, and he didn't even try half of his moves. So I don't know why he wasn't trying. Maybe it was the weight cut. Might not have been fucking goddamn virus. Yeah, virus ruins everything. No, my province is finally starting to open, so I'll be going outside and getting some fresh air. Hopefully I won't be so cranky. Sucks being stuck inside all the time. Boy, that Hindu Kush mountain region. Fuck. Wonder if it's because the X is there, huh? Now this is the region I'd like to travel to. Seems like a lot of nice places. I'm sure India's had more earthquakes than this. Why it doesn't show any? Maybe their data isn't in the file? Thinking you can almost make out a circle there. I don't know, it's like those gravity well holes, it seems like they can create lakes, right? If they hit on a spot there's lots of land, you see that there's a fucking circle there. In a lot of cases, it just pushed the land away completely. The only one that puzzles me a bit is that one, huh? Did the Earth size change? Did this one used to line up with the center? Probably not. I was thinking you could try to shift it over just a bit if you wanted it to line up. Pull it down. No, then it still wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever heard, there's actually a heat anomaly in the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico right at this location. So that's some of the evidence that there is like some sort of weird thing happening here. Yeah, it seems like if you're on this side, you're safe. Jeez. Quite a bit of earthquakes there. Man. Yeah, it is kind of a shame that we don't get the perspective of what earthquakes used to go on. Like the region that I live in here is full of earthquakes, but it's just mild ones now. They used to be big in the old days. Like this split here, all the way through there, earthquakes all along there. This is where I like to go camping a lot. They even have earthquakes here. This is the holy mountain that I like to climb. Yeah, the only shitty thing about camping here is fucking bugs. God damn, they're horrid. If you don't like bugs, you're probably never going to want to go anywhere near this place. But, if you can endure fucking bugs, it's pretty sick. Yeah, have you guys ever camped on any mountains before? Or any other cool spots for camping? See if I got a picture of my campsite. Ah, there it is. Yeah, you can see that camping up there's got quite the view, huh? One of the weirdest things about camping at this spot is I didn't see any animals. It's like birds, I guess you could say, but isn't that weird though? You think you're that far up north and so remote, no animals. I guess the woods technically are full of animals, you just don't see them during the day. Most of them all hide. I don't know if hunters cause that behavior or what. I could see it though. Like, a moose was worth, what, over $2,000 if you could get one. All the meat and hide that it has. That's why it's so expensive to get a hunting ticket for them. I don't think I could ever hunt a moose. Too risky. Like, some of those moose get as big as a tank, right? So you wouldn't want to miss. It's like hit the wrong part of his shoulder or something, the bullet just bounces right off. Now, I used to have some really cool pictures of what it looks like at night. Can't find them. Ah, there's one. Yeah, this was the first place that I ever saw the Milky Way. And like, I always thought you needed a telescope to see the full colors and stuff, but shit, when you're in this area, you can see them no problem. Especially if there's no moonlight. Yeah, Sweden's camping is fantastic. I know a buddy of mine from Hamilton, he went to camp there on a European trip. I think he said he did Sweden, Swiss. I don't think he went to Italy though. Yeah, I can just imagine. Now I can hardly wait till like YouTube picks up and more people will keep doing travel vlogging videos. I want to start showing travel vlogging stuff just in my city because I can't afford really to travel too often, but yeah, it's like, why not share where you live so that other people can see it, right? And travel vlogging isn't that hard to do. A lot of people are getting successful channels from it. I think the hardest part is just like talking to a camera when other people are around. It's like it's a little bit nerve-wracking. So I kind of like having a small channel. It's like 500 people. I don't have to worry about millions of people if I can. Although strangers already do randomly come up to me, so it's kind of fucked. I guess because I started doing tutorial videos. So people that watch my tutorial videos will come up to me. Be like, are you Leland from the tutorial? I'm like, yeah. It's like, whoa. Small world. Weirdest thing about making tutorial videos, I always learn more from the chat just reading what other people wrote in response. Yeah, you can see this holy mountain is divided in half. One half was known as the place for sacrifice. I didn't find out till after I was camping there. I had this weird paranormal encounter. Actually, a couple weird shit happened when I was camping there. The one time I was camping alone at night, and I woke up a few times in the middle of the night because my motion detector was going off. I usually put one when I'm camping. So I yelled, I'm like, hey, who's there? And no one answered. So I'm like, oh, I'm so tired, I'm not even going to bother looking out. It's probably just the wind. But it kept going off. So I'm like, who the fuck is out there? Is it just the wind? Then when I woke up the next morning, I got out of my tent. I was in my tent backwards. I was like, weird. I have one of those tents that's really ultra lightweight, so you can't actually turn around in it unless you got out of the tent and back in. So I guess I must have sleptwalked. Or just, I guess, forgot that I got out of the tent at some point. Well, and the other time, too, I ran into an animal when I was climbing down the mountain. And it was just a weird rabbit. Like, I've heard stories about weird rabbits before, but this was a fucked up one. What made it fucked up, I guess, was it had a giant mustache, like a old wizard or something. I was like, what the hell? I didn't know. I guess hares have mustaches like that sometimes. And the weird other part about the rabbit is you hopped past me like I wasn't even there. Like he was ignoring me. I was like, normally animals, when they see you up north, fucking get the hell out of Dodge. They don't just walk right past you like you're not there. So I was almost wondering if the rabbit was some sort of spirit or something. And I was doing a lot of fasting at that point, so you never know. It could have been hallucinating. That was an intense trip I did that week. I fucking hiked for, what was it, 30 kilometers in one day while fasting. I wasn't completely fasting, I was still taking water. This wasn't really my plan, I just ran out of food. Sometimes I have the worst camping planning. No, and then after walking 30 kilometers back and forth from a Stonehenge to this mountain, that's at the end of the journey is when I encountered the rabbit. Right when my camera died, and I was like, hey, I wonder if I'll see anything cool. I should film right as my camera dies. Camera dies, rabbit appears. It's almost like I was finishing saying it and it happened. Kind of hate when that happens, and at the same time, like, it's kind of cool. Oh yeah, I do got in the description some stuff about Great Circle research from official documents, if anyone wants to see that. I know a lot of the stuff I present on it's not presented very accurately, so definitely should check out historical or not historical, fucking academic sources. What I want to do soon too is add in the minerals, because I know one of the lines happens to go through a really gold-rich vein and runs parallel with it, so I tried to find how far it goes like that. And it goes far, right around the globe, and almost every spot it hits is a really fucking good gold mine. So if I was into gold mining, I'd probably check out this vein. Yeah, if I was mining the ocean floor, I would hit up here. The Maxwell fracture zone. I wonder if there's already an oil rig or gold rig there. Goes through the best ones in the Congo. A couple of Madagascar. Then near New Zealand and shit. And then finishes off around California. I don't know if you've heard about gold in California. Yeah, so if anyone likes gold, that's pretty cool. I bet you there's people that know about that line and they don't tell anyone. They're like, hey, let's just buy all the fucking gold mines along this line. I wish I was better at monetizing shit. For the amount of work I've done, I shouldn't be in the hole so bad. It's all good. I'm sure it'll pay off eventually. Yeah. No good deed goes unpunished. Ooh. Nah, I was thinking other mineral lines might exist too. Might have something to do with the overall pattern. Like if you zoom way out and look at the pattern to this shit, it makes sense that mineral veins would probably be copying a similar pattern. I don't know, the only way I can stand looking at the red field is if I zoom way out. It just looks like such a mess when you zoom in. I don't know how the olden day people did it. Fuck. Yeah, so this is where I think Atlantis could have been. This one circle area here. The best evidence that I have for it, not just being its location, is the name of it, the Schwabenland Seamount. It's where the Nazis said, well, they didn't say Atlantis was there, but that whole Schwabenland thing. Fuck, I can see a mistake. So anyone wants to see how to make these maps, that's how. Or I guess I have the controls turned off, so. There's got to be a way that you can draw these lines automatically. I haven't figured that out. So far I've just been doing them all by hand. It's fucking annoying. I fucking suck at art too, so this is probably the worst person to ever try to make this. Stick figures are usually beyond me. Yeah, I like that one. Now, if people are into the boot of Italy, have you ever heard of the boot of Zealandia? Turns out that Atlantis is here, and if you calculate the opposite side of Atlantis, it happens to be the boot of Zealandia. Here, I'll show you. Oh yeah, there it is. I guess I should spin it because it's hard to tell this way. What Zealandia was the other half of Australia. It's slightly submerged now because of the rising seawaters. But New Zealand is part of it. It's just the highland part of it. Here, I'll turn the red off. Now, I just learned about that recently. I didn't even know that our South Pole... Yeah, see, there's the boot of Zealandia. Same as the boot of Italy. Just bigger. Yeah, so if you take those poles and combine them, like Zealandia to Australia, it's actually the other half of the Antarctica. Some of the plate drift models show that it actually used to be one continent and split in half at one point. You can even see where it connected. Right? So that's why I think our poles are so fucked up, is they've been drifting back and forth between these two continents ever since it split. Yeah, I didn't even have to make that theory up either. There's a lot of plate tectonics people that show that, yeah, this used to be one giant South Pole. So I think when Antarctica used to be hot, like they have tropical shit now, that's it, right? That's when Atlantis used to be hotter too. Right now, this should be Atlantis. But it's underwater. Yeah, you can almost make out the ring, right? Yeah, there's probably quite a few people theorized that Zealandia was Atlantis. I know a lot of researchers say there's two Atlantises or multiple of them, so it's one of the reasons I think it's the opposite end of it. And it's like I had no idea that the landmass scales were that close, that they were actually halves of each other. I should have guessed. It's like they look so similar. Yeah, and the only other evidence I could find in the Nazi records or records of people that found the Nazi stuff saying that they encountered whaling vessels here in the Bouvet Islands on their way to do an expedition to the South Pole or Antarctica, and that they happened to name this area the Schwabenland on the way, which is funny because the vessel that they were in, the war vessel, was named the Schwabenland also. So it almost implies that this was the most important part of their mission, not the part where they got to Antarctica. There's some theory that there's a base here, but I highly doubt it. Yeah, so who knows what goes on at this Bouvet Island, huh? Apparently that's where whaling vessels were. Yeah, I seen that on CNN or something. They're talking about whaling products. I don't think I've ever seen a whaling product for sale. I guess because I don't go to the East Coast ever or any ocean places and try to buy food. When you're inland, you never really see whale products, right? You can't go buy a whale burger somewhere. Poor whales. I don't know, this Bouvet Island. There's got to be some more research into it. Hey, it's had earthquakes. 78, year before I was born. Now, if you look up the history of the Schwabenland Seamount, it says that it's recently submerged islands, but it doesn't specify how recently. A few of the ocean lines tend to synchronize with it. I kind of like how it's circular in shape a little. I guess it's a bit of a stretch. Kind of reminds me of the legend though, eh? Like a big straight ridge going into a circular ring. That would mean people off the south coast of Africa could get to it. This region here, Madagascar, it's where that popular spot of the mystery quakes occurred last year, where the whole earth shone or rang or something. It emanated from there. Yeah, and then some of the other points that it rang was around in here. I don't know if anyone's seen the recent moon images. Like I was thinking, if all these line points usually create lines on the surface, wouldn't the moon have them too? Well, the fucking latest images of the moon will just blow your mind. It has fucking giant lines going down the equator on the surface too. And it has these craters spaced evenly, just like the spots on the Earth. So I was like, this pattern doesn't just affect Earth like this, it's affecting everybody. Fucking planets, solar systems, you name it. Which would make sense, right? If it is a gravity well, wouldn't it affect everything? Alright, gravity wells are a bit of a stretch, but... yeah, so there's where I was trying to compare the two poles. Imagine if, we have two south poles. And then over time it switches from one to the other. Sort of like the yin-yang. I know recent science has been showing that, Antarctica used to be tropical. So to really prove this, we're going to have to find out if Australia used to be frozen at one point. Can you imagine Australia frozen? I don't know, is there any evidence in the records that says how Australia was affected during the Ice Age? Did the weather change there at all? Yeah, see if I got the high-res moon image. So you can start to see that the moon has these giant ridge lines on them too. That isn't the good one though. Oh yeah, and you'll notice too that a lot of the craters aren't really circles, they're hexagons. Hmm. Yeah, so does anyone have a guess where the next big earthquake's gonna come? I kind of like the Billy Meyer prediction that one's coming in, what is it, Portland? He predicted that Portland would have a 10-pointer earthquake within recent times. Not that I have anything against Portland or anything, it's just Billy Meyer is one of my favorite UFO researchers. Ah, there it is. To the contrary, Portland's actually one of my favorite areas. A lot of my footbag clubs that I like to watch videos from are from that area. I guess a lot of hippies and stuff, right? Oh yeah, Portland's near Vancouver. I didn't even know that, huh? Guess it would kind of make sense. There's been a lot of earthquakes in Vancouver's history, huh? Oh, there's 2 Vancouvers, that's why. I hate it when places have the same names. It makes it so confusing. Or was I looking at the same one? Now I'm hoping in the future some video games come out with map programs like Google so we can get better perspective of what it's like to travel everywhere around the globe. I'd love to just see a game where you could run around in places. I don't know, I love loading different maps into Google, different layers. Oh yeah, there it is. There is 2 Vancouvers. That one and that one. Okay, now I got it. It's like Washington, right? 2 Washingtons. Oh, someone in the chat thing said Seattle's gonna have it. Something from the Bible. The Atlantic and Atlantis. Yeah, the reason I picked Atlantis for that spot, I was just thinking, like, the way the map looks like, couldn't see any other circular spots that stood out. A little tempting there. Each one of those circles is kind of tempting. I think it was the ridges on the bottom of the ocean that were circular shaped that made it stand out for me. And just how it was so centered between everything, like between that continent, that one, and that one. There and there. Boy, it looks similar. And if anyone likes paranormal research into different islands, one of the islands here is called the Thule Island. It's got some fucked up shit going on too. Looks like a lot of energy from earthquakes. I didn't even realize the earthquakes hit there like that. Well, the Thule Island experiments were something to do with a bunch of scientists that were working on a Star Wars program. And then once they got released from this island, they all started dying in mysterious ways. Like fucked up suicides, like driving cars off. Well, it was the one guy drove his car underneath a ledge so that it would decapitate him. I was like, fuck, why would you kill yourself like that? It's like, there's a million other less painful ways, right? It's like, why would you torture yourself to death? So everyone was wondering what happened to the scientists that were working on these islands. The Thule Island. I'll see if I can find it. I think if you type into Wikipedia, oh, there it is. There's a page called, fuck, what is it again? The Marconi incidents. I think that's what it is, the murders that were involved in this island. Or I guess I shouldn't call them murders, they were suicides. But they were saying all the scientists started dying, they came back, and they're like, what the fuck happened to them? They weren't allowed to say what happened on this island. And here it is, how close to that fucking Atlantis place. It's not that close, but definitely closer than we are right now, I bet. Yeah, not even far from that Bouvet Island. Next island chain over. So if anyone likes doing Atlantis research and wants to do paranormal stuff in with it, there's some material for you, right? Yeah, there's rumors that the reason they were dying was there was some fucking holographic universe type black ooze shit going on. But I was like, that sounds too much like the X-Files, so I kind of doubt that's what happened. But with how strange this story already is, maybe. Oh yeah, and then for more evidence for it, if you keep going over to, what is it, South America, you have the battle that the British are always trying to win, taking the Falkland Islands. People are debating why people want to take the Falkland Islands so bad. And it's actually questions on Jeopardy. If they ever talk about battles and islands, you can almost answer Falkland Islands right away because it's going to be the answer to half the questions. I don't know why that is. It's such a popular island. I don't know if it's just Argentina and British that have been fighting for it, or maybe the Nazis did at one point too. Almost seems like there should be some evidence of something going on here. Probably a tiny island here. It's not even showing. Oh, here's one. The Inaccessible Island. That sounds like a good place to research, right? Fuck, I love Google, eh? Aren't we in an amazing age that we can just zoom into any fucking island on the planet and see what it looks like? Like, I have a hard time playing video games anymore these days. Fucking real life shit is so much more amazing. Like, what levels in a game am I going to look at that are going to be better than this? The real future is when we get fucking VR technology and then we can scan the earth in such detail that we can just start walking around in the terrain. That would be fucking insane. And it sounds crazy, but look how much our technology's advanced already. I bet you any money we'll be doing it in our lifetime. Like when we're 80 years old, we'll have the option of exploring the entire planet by fucking VR, just walking in fields in the middle of nowhere. Imagine the level of detail it would take to create that by hand. They're just gonna have to scan it. Yeah, betcha there's something here. Looks like a plateau of some kind. Maybe an offering table. Strange as it sounds, this is how I started getting into exploring. I would just look at maps on Google Earth and be like, hey, there's the place I want to go see. Yeah, like what is that? Some sort of fucking river and waterfalls coming down? God, that would be sick. This inaccessible island looks fucking amazing. I wonder if no one's reached it or why they called it that. I love the detail they shot of it though. Alright, enough of this inaccessible island. Or inaccessible. The Edinburgh of the Seven Seas. Yeah, I kind of wish tour guides and stuff were like this. Instead of taking trips to places people go all the time, why do they don't have options to go here? So I'd much rather go explore islands than sit on a beach in some fucking tourist trap. Yeah, see, I need a vacation to the Edinburgh of the Seven Seas. Doesn't it look nice? That's sick. Yeah, so maybe those islands have a connection to Atlantis. Makes me wonder what the activity. Looks like lines used to intersect here. Now people ask me why my map doesn't line up perfectly with all these other lines on the ocean surface. I'm pretty sure the Earth's crust has been shifting a few times. Like we can see here, we get quite the triangle shape at the top of the pole. I'm assuming that this triangle shape has shifted over time. You can see that this one used to be there. So it had shifted over at this point. And you can see each time it shifted over, the distance across that point had shrunken slightly. So here it's nice and wide. Here it's slightly not as wide, got even smaller, got smaller again, and then it hook shifted 90, and there's the last one. So it's like when the Earth was really small, that's the size what it was across the pole. I don't know if that's even possible. The Earth would have to be super dense then, right? The only other reason I can see for the 90-degree shift is you see it on the drag lines. The 90-degree shift has happened before. Look at the drag line from where the volcano was going. It was going straight for the longest time, but then there was a 90 shift. So it's like you can tell the planet used to be that way, and it was dragging from there, and then it shifted 90. I don't know if anyone else has noticed 90 shifts on the planet. Any other examples? I think I got a few more. Can't remember them. Yeah, and I look at the map, that's one of my favorite views. Being able to see how it aligns with India, Southeast Asia, and Australia. Like that layer there in yellow is pretty basic, and yet it shows so much, right? I think that's why in the Great Circle map description they said that it had like an accuracy that sailors loved. Because like if you had this type of map, like look how easy you can navigate with it. Yeah, if you want to see the Georgia Guidestone area. So there we have Georgia there. I do like the formations in Georgia. They got the Eagle Formation, the Rock Formation, Dublin nearby. It's a lot of the same places that we see up north in Canada. Or same names, same patterns of names. Seems like Richmond is on there pretty good. Huntsville, Nashville, Atlanta. Yeah, I never even noticed that, huh? Eagle. God, I'm looking right at it and I can't see it. Huh? Try again. Ah, there it is. It's like I knew it was right near it. Just couldn't see it. Yeah, see, there's one of the things in Georgia. It's got the Eagle Rock effigy. And I was always wondering what that was. I've had a little bit more insight, I guess you could say, what I think it could be. And I got a lot of help from the different Ojibwe researchers and stuff, or not researchers, firekeepers that have been sharing this. Yeah, if you want to check out the work of Kevin Najawan, he does some really good stuff. The Eighth Prophecy thing. But yeah, the Anishinaabe fucking symbol, that's pretty sick. I wonder if that's what it is. Maybe. I was also thinking it could be this. Where is it? And this is like part of the Orion sacrifice symbology that you find all over the globe. Thinking that's what it might be, the bird. I don't know if anyone knows what the top part of this means, but I recently found out in a webinar that's shared. Fuck, I forget the name of it, but I'll put it in the description. Make sure you thank them for all sharing. This is actually the Pleiades, I think it's called. The Seven Sisters or whatever. So that's what one of the arms on this eagle or effigy thing is reaching out to. These are the Orion's belt stars. Here's the Taurus part, the Aleph. Oh yeah, you know with the alpha to omega thing, how they were saying beginning to the end. Well, there you had the Alph sacrifice to the Pleiades, and they said in the center of the Pleiades is where all life came from. So that's where the alpha to omega comes from. Unless I'm getting the omega part wrong. Is omega Pleiades? Not saying I know all this, I just started to figure it out. Or not even, just starting to learn about it. A long way from figuring it out. Yeah, I like the twin symbology, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's where I think this connects to Georgia a little bit. Sorry, that was a bit of a long-winded answer. How I can manage to connect that to Georgia. Now, I did have some other slides about Georgia, but I think it's on my other computer still. I'll check and see if I got them. Now, I used to have a slide that had Georgia and this effigy, and then how far it was to the Georgia Guidestones. It's not too far. No, I don't think I have the Georgia file still. Maybe I'll check here. Now this big chart or whatever from First Nation stuff is going to be, or it is available to see in the museum in Ottawa, but I'm sure that the museum's still closed with all the lockdown stuff. And I haven't gone yet, and I was thinking of doing a vlog there because I'd really like to ask some people more information about what the head part means. I've got the Pleiades part down a little bit. And the whole spinning thing, I've heard that the space spins in different patterns. I always thought it was just one big spin, but I guess there's multiple things that spin within it. I don't know if that's really true. I guess you can see the Big Dipper and some of the other ones. Huh? Oh, there's the other eagle effigy too, right? Maybe that's it. That would make more sense, maybe. Huh. I just got an email notification from DJI. Some sort of sale on the Mavic 2. I used to be into drones until, I don't know, they got really expensive. Fuck, it's too nerve-wracking to fly something around that costs $2,000. So now I got into smaller drones that are around $100. So if it crashes, I don't have a fucking heart attack. It's like even $100 drone gets me on edge though. Fuck. And let's try the Georgia Guidestones. See, I knew it wasn't that far away. Ooh, they let you zoom in pretty good. It uses up my computer a lot though. Alright, I'll zoom out and see where it lines up with the lines. Well, I'm pretty close to that blue one. Yeah, see with these lines, if you zoom out far enough, it usually lands on it. Yeah, I love the names of this area. Georgia Guidestones, Athens, Roswell, like New Mexico, Rome. I didn't know Rome was there. Chattanooga, Tennessee, Nashville. Alright guys, I probably should wrap this stream up soon, so I'll try to cover any more questions if we got them. Thanks for all the viewers watching. I know it's a long stream. Just trying to test if I can keep the computer working this long. My voice is actually starting to give out, so I'm going to have to wrap it up pretty soon. Yeah, the abnormal star map thing, more information. Where you can get that is... Where was that again? I think it was called the Winter Maker. If you type that in, that usually brings it. I'll try to find my links and put it in the video description. I know the Museum of Ottawa is one of the ones that has that main picture. So if you type anything to that, you might find links to go from there. I actually live about 5 hours away from Ottawa, so it's going to be one hell of a day trip in order to go see this museum. Might actually have to spend the night. Yeah, I'll try to zoom in on the reference on that actual image. That should help. It's called, this one's the Dakota Star Map. No, I'm blown away by the First Nations history and star maps, man. They got details that you really don't find anywhere else. I was thinking maybe is they're more honest about it? A lot of times we get our history diluted so much. Oh, maybe here's where it says. Ah, here it is. Map created by Annette Lee and Jim Rock, 2012. Additional references R. Goodman and V. Duville? Sorry if I'm saying those wrong. Ah, here it is. The 7 girls, the Pleiades. Yeah, I'll see if I can find the references and put them all in the description. Sorry, I'm horrible at fucking remembering to do shit. I'll get sidetracked and forget so easily. Yeah, First Nations history is amazing. It's like, I can't believe, like, comparing it to the other cultures, how similar it is around the world. I guess that's maybe why the Nazis and stuff are into it, and Freemasons are really into it. Yeah, sounds like my dinner's ready, or not dinner, lunch, so I'm gonna have to go. Sorry to wrap it up quick, but thanks everyone for tuning in, and yeah, this video should remain in the archives. I don't think I talked about anything too terrible to get it taken down, so enjoy, share it if you want, and yeah, if anyone wants to get their own copy of this Google Earth map layer to add onto their computer, just let me know. As soon as I get maybe 1,000 subscribers, that's what I'll do for the big 1,000 sub celebration. So I'll release the file. I'll try to get it finished as good as I can by then too. Still quite a bit of mistakes. Alright, take care everyone, and have a good night, or have a good long weekend if you're in Canada. See you later. Take care. Later.